guys. Okay, so I feel like I say the same thing every single time, but I just don't know how else to greet you guys. I am not feeling very well today. I'm trying to put a smile on my face, even though I feel like crap. I feel very sick to my stomach, so I'm trying to get through this, and hopefully I don't have to stop it because I get sick. I've been feeling nauseated throughout the whole entire day. I was taking Unisom. If you guys saw my last pregnancy update, I started taking Unisom in the evening as well as B6 throughout the day. My midwife told me that this should help with nausea, and it did for a couple of days, and then I decided to try and stop taking it to see what would happen, and of course I feel like crap and I feel like I need to throw up. So, you know, I unfortunately think I cannot not take Unisom, which I've been feeling really bad about taking. But anyway, this update, this is not about that. I want to do my glucose test experience for you guys. If I don't do it today, I don't know when I'll do it. As well as a small mini haul, but I can only upload about 14 minutes. Anything past 14 minutes will not upload, and so I'm struggling. I've filmed this several times, and each and every time I go past the 40-minute mark, and I'm still not even close to getting to the haul portion of this. Likely I'm just gonna have to put this into two separate videos for sure. Don't know how I'll do them yet, but there will be probably two that you'll see. And then after that, I have a 30-week pregnancy update coming to you guys as well. And if I seem somewhat distracted, it's because of my puppy. She is being needy, and I don't have the heart to kick her out of the room because then she just cries outside the door. So bear with me. It's not been a great day. So let's get into it. My glucose test experience. Let's see if I can do it under 14 minutes starting now. So I had my glucose test at 28 weeks. On that day, I also had a prenatal appointment. So the day of my prenatal appointment, I went in about 10 minutes early. I went to the lab first, where they draw blood, and I, got the orange Gatorade looking drink. I drank it within the 5 minutes allowed, and then after that, they gave me a time to come back to get my blood drawn. Now, thankfully, this office is small enough where I have my prenatal appointments. It's small enough that they were fine with me going to my prenatal appointment. It was in the same building. So while my hour was going, I was going to my prenatal appointment, so I didn't have to sit there with nothing to do for an hour, which was great. So after I drank the drink, I went to my prenatal appointment, did the normal stuff, got my blood pressure done, my weight, doctor checked baby's heartbeat, my fundal height is measuring on point. I was very conscious about how I was feeling during this appointment because I kind of wanted to pay attention, see if this drink was actually affecting me in any way. And the only thing that I could notice was that baby Mira was kicking me like crazy. She was jumping around, moving around, twirling. I don't know what she was doing in there, but she was doing a lot. And so obviously the drink kind of affected her, but for me specifically, I was not feeling anything out of the ordinary or sick or nauseated or anything. So I got through my appointment, got the Tdap shot, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, and then I had about 10 minutes to spare after I got out of my appointment. So, I sat down in the waiting room to kind of try and kill some time, just about 10 minutes, and I started reading the information that I got from my appointment. I got some paperwork on my third trimester and what to expect, and I also got some information on the Tdap shot. I hope I'm saying that right. So as I'm sitting there reading this information, I suddenly the corners of my vision start going a little dark, and my heartbeat starts being a little strange, and I'm thinking, like, basically I'm noticing that something's going on. And then I start to see like little stars, little like white dots in my vision, and I quickly realize that I'm probably gonna faint. Like, that's kind of the feeling I was feeling. I mean, I've never fainted, but you know, I've heard of what happens when you do faint. So I was starting to lose my vision, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, I start freaking out, basically. I start trying to breathe through it. I start thinking, okay, do I get someone's attention? If I do faint, should I position myself a certain way so that I don't fall and hurt myself or hurt baby? So I'm sitting there trying to think through what to do before I faint. And the feeling is getting worse and worse and worse. And then suddenly it gets a little bit better, but it's quickly followed by this like really strange cold sweat. And like kind of my heart starts beating very strangely, and I start feeling myself, and I could tell like I'm sweating, but I'm cold to the touch, and I start feeling sick, and I'm like, I'm thinking like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden my body starts to retch, like preparing to throw up. So I quickly jump up. Thankfully, I sat near the bathroom. Thankfully, because I could have been nowhere near the bathroom. And I barely make it into the door before I'm literally throwing up. And thankfully there was a trash can right in the doorway, and I just literally projectile vomited into the trash can. And this is like, if someone this is the movie kind of vomit where it literally flies out of your mouth. Disgusting TMI, I know, I'm sorry, but that is what happened. And it just went thankfully I made it into the trash can. But I'm kind of blocking the doorway with my body while I'm throwing up, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if somebody comes in, they're gonna just see me right there throwing up in the trash can. So thankfully there was no one in the bathroom at the time. And so I get a second after, you know, profusely vomiting, I get a second where it like slows down, and I think, okay, I'm gonna try and make it to the stall. And again, I take about 2 steps, not gonna make it, and I'm able to quickly get at least to the sink before I am, again, projectile vomiting into the sink. And ladies, I don't know. I have never thrown up like that. I think maybe when I was maybe a baby, I threw up like that, but never as an adult. So, you know, quickly I turn on the faucet as I'm throwing up, because I want the throw up to go down the sink. And of course it doesn't smell very pleasant. And then slowly I start feeling like, you know, it's all out, and I start rinsing my mouth out, trying to kind of pull myself together. And this old lady walks in. Thankfully, she was an old lady, because she literally didn't even acknowledge me. She didn't look at me. She just slowly made her way into the stall, closed the door, and acted like I wasn't even there, which was great, because I was feeling really embarrassed and horrible, and the last thing I needed was somebody coming in and asking me if I was okay, or making a face or whatever. I didn't need that at that point. So as I'm cleaning myself up a little bit, thankfully I didn't get any on myself, but you know, like cleaning my mouth out and all that, and cleaning the sink a little bit and washing my hands, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what does this mean about my blood draw? Like, it's time to go and get my blood drawn. And what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to tell them that I just threw up? Can I maybe just pretend it never happened? Like, it was just, I literally did consider not saying anything to anyone about it and just getting my blood drawn. And yeah, but to me, I was just like, no, I can't risk that, you know, just because I'm afraid of gestational diabetes, and obviously nobody wants it. That doesn't mean for me, it's a very serious thing. So for me, I'm like, I can't ignore it. I need to face this head on. I need to do it even though I'm scared. So I got myself presentable, went back to the lab, told them what happened, and of course, the receptionist didn't know what to do. He was very confused. He had to get a whole bunch of other people. Well, he didn't have to, but he ended up getting a whole bunch of other people, people who draw your blood. I can't think of what they're called right now, sorry. But they all came out and they were all talking amongst themselves, like arguing about whether or not I could still take this blood draw, and the final decision was no, I can't. They were saying that, you know, I could still get my blood drawn because I had other parts of this, like there were other things that they wanted to check, like my iron level and all of that. So that part of the test they said that they could do, but the glucose part they were going to have to cancel. So I, of course, wasn't going to argue. So I went in, got my blood drawn, then immediately went over to try and see my doctor again because I needed to find out what I was supposed to do about this glucose test. And again, the receptionist there didn't know what to do, had to make a phone call. And of course, whoever was on the phone didn't know what to do either. So then she had to go and find my doctor, and it was just this big thing. My doctor finally came out to talk to me, and she was just like, oh, okay, so you threw up. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, when did you throw up? And I was like, literally just a few minutes ago. And she's like, well, what time is your blood draw? And so I told her, literally, I just threw up about 5 minutes before my blood draw. And she was like, oh, well, no, then you can go ahead and still take the test. It's no big deal. And I was like, well, yeah, but you know, they won't take it. And she was like, well, what do you mean they won't take it? And I was like, they won't do the blood draw because I threw up. And she was like, that's ridiculous. Like, basically she got all upset and was like, that doesn't make any sense. You made it almost to an hour with this drink, and it clearly has had time to get through your blood system. So even though you threw up, it was so soon before your blood draw that it won't affect it. So she was just like, made sense to me. So I was like, well, can you know, they refused to take it. So she was like, okay, well, I'll go with you. So she went with me to the lab, argued with them for a few minutes, and was basically yelling at them, telling me that this is stupid, like, you know, she doesn't believe in torturing people, like, that it doesn't make any sense because it was so, you know, I had thrown up so late after drinking this drink that it shouldn't affect how it was able to get into my, like, it should have gotten through my system, basically. So I hope I'm making sense. But anyway, after arguing with the lab for a few minutes, and you know, they finally agreed to do the glucose blood draw. So then I had to go in again for a second time and get my blood drawn, but I was just happy that they were going to do it. But literally, you know, a few minutes later, when I was sitting in the car ready to go home, I just literally start bursting out, like, crying, because in my mind I'm thinking, there's a reason why I reacted that way. Yes, it was, you know, like, it wasn't right away after drinking the drink, but like, to me, I was thinking, I don't think I passed this glucose test because why did I react that way? And I'm crying because I'm thinking, if I have to do the 3-hour test, how am I going to be able to do it? Because I barely was able to do the 1 hour with no fasting. How am I going to do the 3-hour test with fasting? And I was just, it was a horrible experience. So let me end this part here. I will be back and wait for the next part.